guys, I'm Blue.
And I'm Delta.
And this is our big finale video. So, it's been 6 amazing years here, and over the time we've built up what has absolutely become a phenomenal fan base.
The best fan base we could have ever hoped for. You guys have been sticking with us, eating up all our content, commenting with us, messaging us. We've absolutely loved every second of it.
So, and that's partly why we put this whole video together. Wasn't rather than just disappearing, we wanted to give you guys one final, hurrah.
And this is quite a long video, lots of stuff in here. I'm sure you can see the runtime. It's ridiculous, but we want to give you guys a lot to go out on.
So we're going to touch on, a summary of the channel. We're going to be going through, thank yous from us, from the other original members of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you guys know them. Many of you guys, it was before your time, so it's okay.
Got some youngins in the crowd.
Some key highlights. And at the conclusion of this video will be the long-awaited, the much-anticipated, and very frequently requested, a duel between Blue and Delta, featuring not character decks, but our own character style decks. So, stay tuned for that, but until then, a lot of us just talking in front of a camera, which has been our entire life the last 6 years.
I never thought for 6 years I would just sit down in front of a camera repeatedly, talk and talk and talk in a room with just Blue and I or just a few other people, and that thousands or tens of thousands of people would watch it, would eat it up, would love it, and would ask us for more. Never thought that'd be my life.
Some people spit it out over the years and said no thanks,
Yeah.
but that's okay. That's why we have YouTube and a lot of creators out there.
Yeah, and we love the ones who have been with us.
So, 6 years ago, there was an idea to bring together a bunch of remarkable duelists. I'm just kidding, we all sucked. No, we were all just a bunch of guys. We played Yu-Gi-Oh! With each other, competitive style.
Local tournaments sometimes.
And we had the idea, hey, let's put together a YouTube channel. And it wasn't very serious, because we all know how hard it is to make any kind of success on YouTube. We started with some tin openings and a lot of competitive coverage. Most of the guys, so everyone but me really, was more into the competitive scene. And I played very minimally, but I was more fond of anime style character decks. And Delta and I have been playing those, a bit.
Built a couple. First one's like Yu-Gi Battle City, just a couple.
America had been lingering around for a while as well.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, we decided to say, hey, let's put something fun on the channel, let's do a character deck duel. And from that point on, we started to mix it. We split our channel. The other guys held on competitive, along with Delta, but Delta did double duty with me to bring the character stuff out. And over time, as we released a competitive video, we'd see the comment section with one question: when's the next anime duel coming out? And it didn't take too long for us to kind of realize that the competitive market was very saturated, while apparently the anime market was a bit fresher.
We had success with competitive videos, but it didn't happen as much as it was with the character deck stuff, which constantly was expanding our fan base, constantly was growing our fan base. We hit a niche of the character deck stuff, whereas like Blue said, competitive was just oversaturated. So we all started shifting to the character deck stuff and doing it more and more. The other members would join for 4-ways and tag duels. So it really was a focal point where we shifted to doing both with a focus on character decks.
So that original team of guys was Blue and Delta, Head Explodey, Conflictlix, and Gogs. And eventually, Head Explodey and Conflictlix parted ways. Life carries on, and they moved out of the area. Gogs remained on here and there as a bit of a part-time in addition to what he was doing, but what most of you know, and some of you probably know, is that Delta and I are actually brothers. So this is what has made it the easiest for us to continue to produce content. We literally live together.
For another couple weeks. Sorry guys.
Which is why, unfortunately, we have to call it quits right now, is because since Delta's at the point where he is moving out in quite a ways, leaving just me, we felt that without the two of us and being so far apart, we couldn't bring you the same quality of content. that and our lives each being so busy, but it just made it increasingly difficult for us to work the channel in. So we ultimately decided that, and we did consult with the other guys, even though that they've more or less, retired from the channel. We all kind of agreed the same way that we'd rather send it out with a bang than,
A stumble.
than really kind of
A small whimper.
it wouldn't be the same, and we just didn't want to put out, a lesser quality thing. But that being said, so when everyone parted ways, it was just Delta and I. We were working strictly on character decks, and we started to formulate our method, which, as most of you know, became the waves. We started building. It was originally the first, year and a half, 2 years. I'm not even sure how long. Decks just came out here and there whenever we just decided to build one. Eventually, we structured it into waves, so we released multiple at the same time. And those multiple usually came from the same story arc or from the same series, and then we debuted them one at a time against their anime opponent, assuming we had that deck built. So we really worked to hopefully bring a more cohesive structure to everything, so that a lot of you guys who've been following us could pick up on the trends. And we'd announced that the waves coming out with our deck expos we started 2 summers ago, because we wanted to push transparency for you guys. So we were going to announce to you guys, hey, these are the months, these are the themes. Some of the decks we kept a secret, so that there'd be a little bit of surprise, but for the most part, we wanted more transparency so you guys could see what was coming. Because since the beginning of the channel, we've always been asked one thing: are you going to build so-and-so's deck?
And the answer was, for the most part, yes. We plan to build a lot of decks. We obviously want to release them all at once, but we planned for lots once we make in the future. We were always deck building, always looking at different ideas, and we just tried to introduce them, slowly enough at a good enough pace that each deck got its own due, and that we had time to show off and do duels of each deck. But at a rapid enough pace that we could try to get to, tons of characters on all these decks we wanted to build. But unfortunately, we just ran out of time. That brings us to the point where we are now, where we would have loved to make more decks. We would have loved to make as many as possible. And there's certainly requests that went unanswered. But we definitely tried our best throughout the time. And we brought you, as far as we know, more different character decks, and then just more total character decks than any other channel on YouTube.
And that brings me to our next point, and this is a big one. So by this point, we pushed out just about all the decks or deck profiles we were able to do. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the last minute. Awaken the Dragon's Mai and the Grand Championship, Joey, Kaiba, and Yugi, to go alongside with Rebecca to finish that out. So from this point, there's a couple things on the horizon. First off, don't be surprised if you see the Battle City Yugi get uploaded one more time. Apparently, twice we haven't filmed it successfully. I would like to call out the fact that Brain Control is missing because I found it under a pile of other cards completely, and Archer New Guilford was filmed and cut accidentally in post-production.
I'll accept responsibility for that one.
So if you want to know, how
why there's going to be another upload.
If you want to know how well we're doing, we're not on top of the ball right now.
Yeah. We've done a lot lately, especially the past few days, to try to get all this content out for you guys. And unfortunately, that means we make mistakes, which costs us more time in the long run. So joke's on us.
We apologize for screwing that up because twice. Anyway.
If we don't get it right the third time, just nobody say anything. Just if we don't get it right, there's cards
just
don't say it.
Stays.
Just don't say anything.
Alright, so 2 things. 1, the deck list document, a open viewer Google Docs in the description of this video and like every video we have. And 2, if you haven't heard by now, you should get out from the rock you're living under. Konami has announced that they are printing cards played by Siegfried and Leon, also from Grand Championship. Hey, we just built some of those decks. That is so coincidence timing. And this is just some cards for Duke, whose deck of ours is
one of our favorites, but lacking in some regards.
Now, we've said it a couple times in other videos, and I'll say it right here in the last video. We have every intention of eventually building those decks, despite being apart. It's not as hard for us to put together some deck profiles every so often. So while we make no promises or guarantees, we would like to build those decks. And going forward, we are hoping to bring more deck profiles here and there, but it's really going to be based around the, if they're significant releases. We're not going to update Yugi's deck if they release one card like Necromancy.
Yeah.
But if a whole bunch of cards come out for a new character that we want to build, we're likely to try to push that through. I do want to say though that our passion for this in the anime is going to really extend to the original series. So don't get your hopes up if there's a lot of new GX or 5Ds cards coming out, because
we're less likely probably not going to do anything with those.
So it's unfortunate, but we really focus most on the original anime, and that's why we want to make sure it was finished up by the time we closed out, which is why we put out the Mai and the 3 Grand Championship decks. We've pretty much finished out nearly every deck from the original anime. Most of what's left are what we consider very minor appearances. Although a couple mentioned like Rebecca's first deck from Dual Yugi. Cool deck, not something we were really trying to pursue. She didn't play many cards, and anyway,
we created a rough deck list for once, never released.
So the big takeaway is that if it's a major release from the original anime, new characters, so hey, maybe one day it starts, it's Alistair, it's Valen, that's the kind of thing we love to try to bring back here and there. The timing on it might be a little bit later after the cards have come out. So we want to tell you guys, it's not completely over, but the regular flow content is gone and duels are also gone. It'll just be an occasional deck profile for these really cool characters that Konami is releasing after we split up. 6 years of this, 6 years of busting our asses building characters under all the crevices. We built all of the big five, Gozuboru, a big five United deck that you guys definitely showed interest in. We built decks from Pyramid of Light and from Dark Side Dimensions. We have decks from all over the original anime. So we're interested to bring you what we can, at least the stuff that we can settle on as we're most passionate about, and bring that back to the channel. But the big thing is the deck list document. So that contains a typed up list of every deck we've shown on here. And we're going to put a few more in there, possibly here and there, that we have not built and will likely never physically build. But we're going to try to drop a few more in there, here and there. But the big thing is going forward, that's going to be our method of communication to you guys. So since you have a link to it always, we'll put an announcement on the top of the document if we've added something new. So you guys might want to open that every other day if a new release comes out. And if there's an announcement at the top that says, Siegfried and Leon's decks are added, then and it goes all in sequential season order, so you'll know where to find it. But that's the big thing. Look for that document. We'll drop in a big announcement if or when we update or add any decks. Also, because that's easier to add it to the course than putting up more duels. So if they were to print like Yugi's Necromancy or Kaiba's Attack Guidance Armor, while our deck profiles will be out of date, our deck list will reflect that. So take those also as a gift to you guys, because you can't find that searching anything on YouTube. You have to already know about the channel and our videos to find that. So for you guys, our fans who have been following us and have been looking for decks and asking for duels, this is for you guys. You'll know where to find more decks when they come around. So we want to take a moment right now to tell you guys, we said it before, how amazing you guys have been as fans. You guys really have set for us a new bar. We don't have other YouTube channels to compare it to, but you've set a new bar.
We know you guys are great.
Yeah.
You established a bar that is hard to beat.
I mean, really, it's been a lot of things. I mean, we've had some of you guys, you comment so frequently. We've had conversation with you guys. And we've seen too, a lot of you guys really have, you're faithful to our building style.
You understand how we build decks. You know it inside and out, almost as well as we do.
We notice some people out there, we may seem a bit nitpicky and a bit strict on what we include. We have our reasons, but it's just, that's our take. And many of you who've been following us for a while, we can tell you guys have picked up on that because you guys sometimes call us out on things when, we could have taken an added card, we missed the card. We've even seen some of you guys even commenting on other people's questions if the card was or wasn't included.
You guys explain why, and sometimes better words than we can.
It saves us the trouble of having to answer every YouTube comment. No, but it's awesome that you guys, we're working on the same thing. You guys you've come to expect a style of, deck building that we do, and we deliver.
It's almost like after watching hours of us ramble on, you guys have paid attention. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
So to have you guys as a consistent fan base has been really cool. And, in order to keep building our decks, unfortunately it's very expensive, which has also slowed us down a bit. So we started a Patreon, not as early as maybe we should have. We figured maybe someone likes us enough. And soon enough, a bunch of you guys signed up. You threw us your dollars because we're assuming you like us enough, we like our content enough that you want to contribute. And for that, we are also immensely thankful that you guys really felt us, worth investing into.
You guys went all fry on us, holding cash. Shut up and take my money. So we appreciate it, guys.
And we've also had people
send us cards, send us mail. Like, I never thought I'd get fan mail. Like, man, my mom doesn't want to know about that. Like,
it's been a great experience. All of you guys who have contributed, who have commented, so many of you, it's just been really, really amazing, and it's been a great experience for us. So
we can't stop talking about how awesome you guys are.
Really, we didn't think anyone would like us that much. Hey,
we didn't think almost 5,000 of you would like us that much.
Squad goals.
We're going off script here.
So with that in mind, we're gonna take this opportunity quickly, also tell you guys, more about who all's been here. So, as we mentioned, the original 5 was us 2, Hey Explodey, Gogs, and Conflictless. Now, unfortunately, Gogs was not able to give us any contribution in the form of a video or audio testament.
God rest his soul.
He's still around, don't worry. He's busy. He doesn't have time to make YouTube videos.
But he was definitely a big part of the channel. I appreciate what Gogs has done too, because times where Blue Rye were too busy, he would step in to do all the character tools. All the way up to, several months or a year ago, he was still stepping in. Definitely a valued member as well, so.
And we also like to take a quick moment to thank, but also so you guys know, not relatively within last year, we ended up bringing on a second editor because of how busy Delta was and how slow the content was. We brought on a second editor.
If you guys never knew there's a second editor, it means you did a good job.
Yes. It just took him a while to get his bearings. If I recall, there was a story about the first video we sent him to edit. He spent all night in the bathroom floor with the laptop editing it. For
very complicated video.
Mr. Joel, we appreciate you. But that's also for you guys, the fans. Like, we were really trying to bring out content. We got behind, so
we did everything we could to get it out there for you guys.
At the same time, also extended family. I think a shout out to our buddy Josh. He ran our TCG store at the end, which was selling all those, just trying to hawk up all those, surplus crappy cards that we showed you guys a while back.
Paid for a whole lot of decks, and saved us the time of having to move the cards. So again, didn't cost us time. Got us money, got us something done for the channel.
So they couldn't be here to say anything, but they worked behind the scenes. But they did a great job. They really helped us out so we could sit here in front of the camera and not stop talking. But that's okay, because you know who else can sit in front of the camera and not stop talking, who's not us. We'd like to introduce to you guys a quick little thing, a contribution, a thank you, and a statement to you guys from Hey Explodey and Conflictless.
Yo, what up? It's your boys. I'm Conflictless.
Hey, it's Hey Explodey.
So, we're doing our sad farewell video.
Roar.
Yeah. Back in the day,
Yeah.
we started this channel, Team Carrot Cake as it was known. as kind of a way to kill time. We didn't really think it'd get big, and we had no idea what we were doing with the channel. Head Explodey and I kind of focused more on the competitive scene. Delta sat somewhere in the middle, and our boy Blue worked really hard on the character decks, which turned out to be our big star. By far our most popular videos. It's what the fans wanted, and that's that's just how it is sometimes, you know. That was a niche in the market that wasn't being filled, and we were good at it.
hmm It's not that we didn't like the character duels. We loved the character duels. It's just we were better at competitive deck building. That's just where we shined.
Mhm.
And one of the main reasons why we're former members of Carrot Cake, or now YGOAnimeGames, is because that's what we were good at, was competitive games. And it's all about what the fans want, what you guys want. So, Delta and Blue gave you guys all that they could with that. And honestly, Yu-Gi-Oh just isn't the same game that we fell in love with a long time ago. It's just a game that constantly changes. It's very expensive to keep up with, and we just have other things going on in our lives. Gooflicklix had to move. I had to move. So we ultimately just moved on from the channel. And that's basically the reason why we're not in it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly haven't played competitive Yu-Gi-Oh since I moved, and that was 4 years ago. I can't believe it. I contributed a little bit to the character deck stuff, but competitive just kind of slipped away. The game's too fast, too expensive now, like Head Explodey said. And not only that, but I didn't have any friends here to play with. I had to make new friends to do it, and we all know that people who play Yu-Gi-Oh suck, so I definitely didn't want to make friends with them.
One of the main reasons that kept me on the coast of should I quit this game or should I not quit this game was the fact that it was just so expensive. Not everybody who plays the game is toxic, but the very specific locals that we went to was extremely toxic. Just people ripping off little kids. Like, little kids would pull something, they didn't know what they had, and they would just completely get ripped off. It was disgusting. It was disgraceful. Plus,
Disgusting. Trash.
absolute trash. And plus, it's just that it's just too much sometimes. Like, what really did it for me was spending my entire tax return one year just on a deck just so I could play the game. Only people that live near me was Kufliklix, Delta, and Blue, and Goggins,
The
and
boys.
we would sit there and play against each other over and over and over again just to prepare for the tournaments. Then we would get there and get rolled over anyway, just because they were playing the same three decks, which is a problem with every trading card game. But the fact that I spent that much money on one specific deck that was illegal 3 months later was what did it for me. That was when I actually said I can't do this anymore.
Hmm.
I am ruining my life playing this game, so I had to step away.
So the Team Carrot Cake YGO Anime Games community has grown so much over the past few years. We can't thank you enough. We had a lot of fun doing it, and you gave us a reason to do it and motivation, where otherwise we were just doing it as like a hobby. You know, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you.
Yeah, really, guys, thank you so much. It really blew up in a way that we couldn't imagine, and we really appreciate the you guys providing content for you, no matter what it is, whether it's Yu-Gi-Oh or anything else. That's what we all are. We're all content creators, and we love that. Just having the opportunity to do that for so many people is it just blows our minds. So thank you so much.
We don't even know what the next steps in our lives are going to be. You know, Delta's moving. Blue's got a life and a family. We don't live around those guys anymore. We don't necessarily have the time to play like we used to, but the channel, you know, we'll always remember the channel. We'll always remember the fans. And, you know, this isn't goodbye forever. This is goodbye for now.
Absolutely.
Man, this is rough. I'm going to start crying. One last farewell.
Start crying too. So thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts, really, for giving us this opportunity. But we would also like to thank Blue and Delta for taking such good care of the channel after we left, because they really took it to a new level. They really did a lot of new things that made the channel better, and we couldn't be happier, because as much as we love the channel, we've always loved the channel. We just really couldn't be a part of it anymore, and they really stepped up and they took very good care of it. They did an amazing job. So we just want to say thank you to Delta Gogs for
One last time, you know, this is Mike.
this is Corey.
You know, goodbye. Farewell.
Goodbye. Thank you guys. Thank you.
So we were really happy that the guys were able to film that. Send it to us to throw in the last video. Because like I said, we chatted with them briefly about the idea of bringing this all to a close, because keeping it live would just not be the same. And again, we all agreed, despite the fact that they left, years ago, just because life moves on, they still are love and are passionate about the channel. We're all still in disbelief that it actually got to the point where we were so successful that, we had a fan base we wanted to address, we were leaving, rather than just put up someone else's videos and disappear suddenly.
Rather than just, oh, 60 subscribers, none of them really comment, okay, we'll try.
Yeah, it feels like 150 people, it would be a shame if we just say bye. We definitely want to give you guys closure. So, as the guys just did touch on, like we also said in the very, very beginning, we used to be YGO Team Carrot Cake, and now we're YGOAnimeGames. The biggest reason for the name shift was we were no longer a team. It was Delta and I working on everything. We brought Gogs in for an occasional duel. Sometimes the guys came back to run the Dueling Network tournaments with us. But everyone in the whole project agreed, though, that Delta and I had the channel.
And it was entirely character decks and anime content at that
So
point.
we wanted to change the name to more reflect strictly where our content was, really just for marketing, for branding. We wanted something that was more recognizable, as you could see our name and hopefully you think we were doing Yu-Gi-Oh! Character card decks.
And we changed the channel for rebranding, but we are still Team Carrot Cake. The five of us, Gods, Head Exploit, Flicklicks, and the two of us are Team Carrot Cake, even though the channel has become YGOAnimeGames. Now sit down or stay seated.
So, I think it was about 2 years ago, I don't remember anymore, my brain is fried these days. It's never the same once you have a video running around, it just really goes. Kunai printed out more cards for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Attempt decks for the ceremonial battle, the epic conclusion to the original anime, this whole story arc which ended, years of Saturday morning cartoons. And we, of course, were like, we're going to do that. The fans want it. We want it. The fans want it. So we watched you guys that duel, and it played out amazingly.
Epic, exciting. Everybody loved it.
And then disappeared from YouTube.
Yank!
Because we're not going to name names, but a certain company that dubs animes.
Might start with a number. And with the four-letter word.
So we got a copyright flag. We got YouTube telling us, oh no, and waving their finger. Which is fun. We're not sitting here trying to, mock it. They never specifically say what it was. They just say we violated all of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Animes. Every last one was named.
There's no way we can know what it was. It's just, they say it gets taken down.
They're not helpful. They don't tell you what part was wrong. They just said your video was wrong. It's what part? The title, the words, and eventually we uploaded it. I believe we mirrored it. So if you wonder why it was mirrored, there you go. We cut out a lot of the dialogue that was very anime nostalgic in case it was an audio flag, which is why it's a very choppy video. And we also retitled it. So we had no idea why. There was a lot of people asking what happened to us. We were kind of sitting there in timeout for like 6 months while it sits there and says,
We just closed it. We kept the lips closed.
there's no consequences if it's just one strike. You have 6 months, it goes away. If you keep getting more and more of them,
Right.
you
So
know.
we didn't expect to get more and more. You know, we were just filming ourselves in our own basement. But we want to be better safe than sorry. And you know, we're not saying this to be upset or start anything. We just want to let the fans know, because a lot of you were watching, going like, what's happening? This isn't adding up.
We had a lot of people asking for a while, why don't you have a certain one Battle Duel?
I went back to rewatch it. Where is
Like,
it?
well, you see, funny story about that. And then people were asking when the re-upload came, like, you know, why it's choppy, and we're like, well, we're trying to avoid copyright. And some people in the comments were like, you can't get copyright for that. We're like,
Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy.
but we tried to downplay it because we didn't want to address it. But we're going out. We're staying up for you guys for transparency.
Yeah.
Overall, it was funny. It was, you know, mind-boggling that it actually happened to us.
Who would have known?
You know, but it's not like we're mad. It was, at the time, it was just one more thing we didn't need. Now it's kind of funny.
Hey, listen, how else are you going to know you made it big if you're not getting hit with copyright strikes?
We got the biggest fans looking at us. Now, it's just probably bots running around like crazy, so they didn't even give us a watch.
Yu-Gi was mentioned. Boom.
So we just want to take a moment to address why one of the biggest duels in the anime was on our channel and then not, or for some people was just not on the channel when the deck profiles were both there. And then, of course, why the re-upload looked like crap. Stop texting, we're in a video.
I have the questions up, actually, from our beloved fans.
The Q&A.
A lot you've been waiting for. Questions you asked a month ago, you probably were like, they forgot about us. Alright, so guys, we're just gonna take it as fast as we can.
Now, we want to say that some of you guys asked very similar questions and we're just kind of grouping them together.
Yeah.
A lot of you asked the same question: what's your favorite card from the anime? What's your favorite duel from the anime? Why is no one asked what my favorite food is? My favorite color?
I thought that'd be a few more personal questions, but that's okay. It's okay. It's all a channel, and that's what we love talking about. So we love talking about Yu-Gi-Oh.
But we also have other hobbies. I play Grand Theft Auto on Xbox 360. He plays Grand Theft Auto on Xbox One.
First question: what was your favorite duel from the original Yu-Gi-Oh anime? Well, let's see. There's about 15 or 20 of them. Let me go down the list.
How do you really pick? I mean, we built like every character from the anime ever, and like, well, I'm gonna just probably yell out Yu-Gi versus Merrick. Yes, it's derivative.
Yu-Gi versus Corn Battle City.
It's the conclusion, but you know what I like? It was the conclusion duel. Aside from being a spectacular game back and forth, where there's all kinds of weird things because it's the anime, they don't have a real rule book. It was also just the conclusion of Battle City, and Battle City was actually 2 seasons. Part of season 2 was the virtual world story arc, but the whole thing spanned 2 seasons, so it's episodes and episodes and episodes of the story arc. And this is the conclusion of it, which will also have my interest. So not just the hero versus the villain, but...
Actually, Yu-Gi versus Kaiba, I probably actually like more than Yu-Gi versus Merrick. And seeing them duel in Battle City was just so different from the Duel's Kingdom. That duel was like just so high stakes, so perfect in terms of back and forth. So that's actually high up for me too.
And I love Kaiba's massive ego that he duels in the Coliseum. He's like, I have this whole thing all set up.
Yeah. What was the most difficult deck to build? What was the hardest to plan out and build? We got some several different forms. Duke was a challenge because we also constantly rebuilt it to try to find the right mix for Duke, lacking a lot of his big cards. So that one and Esper Rogue were 2 that definitely took us a while in terms of like, let's find other cards that we feel fit them, and we didn't want to just rush in cards that didn't fit them. We wanted to find the ones that we liked.
Duke's deck is horrible. We don't like it. We took the few cards he had from the virtual world that are printed, cards that were Dungeon Dice monsters that are also Yu-Gi-Oh cards, some cards from his duel against Joey, some fill-ins. It's such a mix of everything because there's not much available for him. They're finally printing more cards like Orgoth, so you can expect us to update his deck and it'll really hopefully feel more like a Duke deck. But just for the most part, it was such a pain, especially when it's underperformed, because what we had to work with that was Duke was very poor. I mean, some of the big 5 were challenging too because of how few cards that were played, especially Gansley. Almost none of Gansley's cards are printed. But we built the deck by using the same style of monsters he uses. We worked with his reptile theme, We worked with a Searcher theme, and we came up with a deck that we actually were pretty happy with.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters, also like say Esperoba, where they don't play enough cards to get 40 cards out of it, even if you triplicate everything. So it's us trying to fill in the last cards with stuff that fits the theme, fits the character. The biggest thing though is we have to make sure that not only do we think it fits, but you guys. Because we always get suggestions. You guys have sometimes come up with some interesting ideas too. Ultimately, the whole card game is subjective, so
People do what they want.
yeah. So everyone can make their own tweaks, but we want to make sure that if we're telling you it fits his theme, you guys can believe it fits his theme.
What was the most expensive deck to build? Well, Yu-Gi-Oh! Awakening Dragons when it came out was like $150 plus. Like Tamias and Dark Magician Girl Dragon Knight were like $30, $40 cards.
And then that deck was not cheap. I'd say right now it would be a Kaiba deck because Card Demise is still way up there in price.
Yeah.
Although, depending on how technically you wanted to get, our Mako deck has 3 Fortress Whales. Now they're Orcas. They were $10 a piece.
Instead of 200.
Yeah, the card has like one printing. There's only a handful you can get, and the card's so expensive that it's kind of Orca or Proxy or nothing. So maybe it's that one if you want the actual card.
Speaking of Orcas, have you ever thought about purchasing an Orca deck or printing your own for some decks?
No, not really.
Besides Fortress Whale, yeah, not really. We don't want to build an Orca deck and duel with like a Darts deck. I mean, we might purchase Orca decks ourselves, but not for the channel.
Personal. To clarify, people have done some amazing work with Orcas. Filling in the space where Konami is just not there, which would be a hint to the company to print cards more. But the point is that when we started this channel, we wanted to use real cards because we wanted it to be accessible to everybody. So that if we built our decks, they would serve as a reference to you guys. And we've had you guys build copies of our decks. We've had you guys buy copies of our decks.
When we sold them.
We've had, the deck list stock. That's why we have a typed up copy of all of this, aside from the videos, is for deck building for you guys. So the biggest thing was we want to use actual cards so you guys can go out and buy the same cards. The only exception is that Fortress Whale, but you could always go online and just try to find, someone who makes Orcas for $10. Those guys do some really good, convincing work.
What is your favorite duel from the anime and favorite duel on the channel? So we touched on favorite duel basically before. There's really good ones in GX and 5Ds too. I like the end of the first season against Rex Goodwin with Crow, Jack, and Yusei. But favorite duel on the channel, I mean, there's a lot of good ones.
This is gonna look bad, but I also want to say the Yugi vs. Merrick we did when Merrick gets new cards printed out.
Pretty good.
I want to say that video was dated about like September of 2016.
We did Yugi
That
before
one.
around the time. That was really good too.
We've done a lot of Yugi vs. Merrick's, obviously. You're looking for one around September 2016. It was a lengthy duel. I felt there was some good play,
We did the Ceremony of the Battle. It's really cool and came out really awesome.
Oh yeah, that was also.
And then we did Awakened Dragons Joey versus Battlestate Joey, which was also probably one of our favorites. It was an amazing duel. It was way more back and forth and way more epic than we ever thought
that was
the duel for
nuts.
the channel would be. What's your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card from the original series? Those guys, what's their favorite monsters? What's their favorite trap cards? And what are favorite cards and why? So let's just run through a litany of our favorite cards. Do you want to start?
Hannibal Necromancer is a really cool monster.
Dark Sanctuary,
Tech Guidance Armor is a really cool trap card.
Guardian Yados, Plasma Heal for you? No.
I like Plasma.
There's a lot.
I also want to say Ragnarok. It was a really cool card,
Mm-hmm.
but if you look at the effect and the cost compared to what cards are actually printed,
Yeah.
it's horrible. It costs you everything to get like this.
Just a little bit. But there's a lot of really cool cards. I like a lot of the core stuff, Dark Spirit of Silence, Spirit Messages too. Golden Castle Stromberg. Are you guys still excited that Konami's print cards in the anime?
Yes, do it faster,
We'd be
please.
more excited if it happened while the channel was happening, but we were still excited. What's your number one card from the anime that you wish was printed? There's a lot. Attack on Titan is pretty good one. Gold Castle Stromberg would have been high up on the list, but we're getting it now, so no complaints.
I'm close to saying Necromancy because I just really want to finish out about the Yugi deck like full.
Just Graceful Charity.
Yeah, but Necromancy I know also makes some appearances.
Ragnarok, yeah. There's We're missing a lot from a lot of characters still.
Ragnarok is garbage.
It's a
It was
long
just
list.
for cinematic effect. Use dark burning magic instead.
To Delta, they don't like you.
Thanks.
What was your favorite meta deck when you were still playing the game? Well, I guess I have a little bit of a confession to make in front of thousands of people.
Or the 35 still watching.
I do still play competitively sometimes. I actually went to the YCS Caucus. YCS is a big tournament, thousands of players. That was this weekend, and I actually played in a YCS for the first time. So I'm still playing a little bit. My favorite meta deck right now is Sky Striker Trickstars. But one of my favorite meta decks of all time, I don't know, there's a lot of good ones.
See,
There's a lot of good ones.
when I left the competitive meta, everyone was rocking, like, I remember Monarchs, Light and Darkness.
Yeah.
Well, when I seriously cared. I went to a tournament we did a few years ago. I was just running Self-Destruct button against everyone's Vermils and Infernities because I was like, screw it. It's button time.
Mashed up on then Konami banned it. Womp, sad face. But now Konami introduces a new rule that creates ties and draws anyway, bring Self-Destruct button back. Alright, moving on. Bolty, what is your favorite character deck? Bakura, maybe?
I'm gonna go with Merrick and Jesse. I don't know. Merrick and Jesse.
What made you guys want to make character deck duels to begin with? We already been building the decks, and we already building them for fun. So we were like, let's film it one time, see how this goes.
We were as young as anybody else was when Yu-Gi-Oh came out, and it was on Kids WB on Saturday mornings. We were watching anime, so it went from us loving the anime to, again, many times in the years since the anime came out, and most recently, building much more sound decks, especially as more cards came out. So,
who do you think is the best duelist between you and Blue? Well, we're both very good duelists, at least compared to each other.
if we're talking like character decks, I mean, level, if it's competitive stuff, I mean, I tap out to begin with, so.
I mean, competitive players know that there's like metagames to develop, right, where certain decks are better, certain cards are better, there's like certain best plays, and it gets really complicated. And people don't always realize that that's like that with character decks too. You know, you can make a lot of bad plays, and you need sometimes to make a lot of the right plays and to really think out like several turns ahead. And it does take a lot of skill even to play character decks. People go back and play older competitive formats that take a lot of skill as well. So long installation short, like yeah, we're both really good when it comes to character decks. So
Filthy casual.
what is the rarest, most expensive card you guys own, and the most expensive card seen in character deck? Well, like I said, I played in the YCS and did fairly well. So I had several $100 cards in my deck because for those who don't competitive play, those cards can hit $100. Sky Striker Startup, Mobilize Engage.
Not long ago, I ended up buying a Pharaoh Servant original Jinzo. I guess that counts.
Card Demise. In character decks, Card Demise right now. Back in the day, like we said, Demise and Dark Magician Girl.
Arguably, Fortress Whale, the copy we have,
Right.
cheap, the card itself. Dire need a reprint.
Favorite characters from the anime. Bakura. I really liked Leon when I was younger. Bakura. Kaiba, Yugi, and Joey.
Yugi. I want to say I like Merrick. Young Merrick is kind of an ass.
I like Merrick. Jaden. I loved Jaden when I was a kid. Don't know how to feel about him now. How hard is it to make character decks? Well, it's easy to start making the first couple if we want to. To make them in general, it can be hard. Sometimes they're quite expensive cards. It's hard to plan them out sometimes and then actually buy all the cards. It is a complicated process.
I mean, like we said earlier, if the character plays enough cards, like at least 20, we get maybe a 40 card unique deck for a lot of the main characters. Some characters, we just do 2 of everything, and then it's all their cards. Some characters, we do 2 or 3 of everything to get their cards in, and still have to fill in the rest of the blanks with, again, what is plausible.
Did you ever think about making Bakura's deck in Season 5? Only add Diabound Colonel, but I think it was significant. Yes, keeps me up at night. I love Bakura. I love the Evan Colonel. I guess we shouldn't feel it's worth making a deck just for it. But it was significant. I'd like to get a Spirit tablet cards. And then I would build a deck myself. I would make sure you guys see deck profile. If we get Spirit tablet cards, I'll make deck profile with the Evan Colonel.
I'm down.
Mark my words. Well, what's your favorite deck to play, and which characters do you enjoy playing more?
Chassis.
Right.
I like the Crystal Engine a lot. Also Seeker's deck, because it's a fun. It only works of course in a casual thing, but it's fun. It's a little stally, draw Exodia, a lot of draw cards.
Is Bakura a cop-out answer? I also like Waking Dragons Yugi a lot. And Waking Dragons Joey. I like decks that have variety in them too. Like every card's different. Keeps things spicy.
What's wrong with my 3 copies of Exodia?
So what do you think of the anime Brains? We don't really watch it. I've seen bits. It's okay. It's not the animes we love. They get like the first 3.
It's the Yu-Gi-Oh reboot of Hotoyoko and Mega Man.
What do you think of Lake Something, and what do you think of the new dueling system / rules for Brains?
We did also make a video about
Yeah.
our thoughts on Brains. It's somewhere.
Our general dislike of Links and Brains. Now, I don't mind really Links playing competitively. They're fine for the game, kind of, even though they become broken. But for our purposes, like the new rules, like we would not play it then, because we couldn't play in the original anime the same way. Even in GX and 5Ds, we couldn't, especially 5Ds where you make multiple synchros, just could not be played nearly the same way. So
Yeah, that hadn't been apparent until now. We always played anime duels in their correct format. Surprisingly, no one ever hopped on the channel and said you're doing it wrong.
yeah.
I was waiting for that.
You drew 6 cards your first turn. Actually, we got that a couple times. Favorite character from each Yu-Gi-Oh series? We'll just go 1 and 1 through all the series, I guess. We kind of did for the original anime already, but
Merrick,
Bakura,
Jesse.
Bastion or Alexis.
No answer. I don't watch much by these.
Akiza, maybe you say? We kind of lose it after there. I'll answer this. Kite for Zexel.
Yeah, I was gonna say Kite. I never watched Zexel, but he played the Galaxies, and I have a Galaxy deck that was my fun little modern theme deck that doesn't do well in competitive play anyway. But hey,
Who plays Trickstars and Brains? Because I play a deck competitively, so I guess they'd be my Brains' favorite character. Alright, moving on. What got you guys into Yu-Gi-Oh? The anime. Done. Next question.
you have to remember, we're brothers. We're gonna have the same origin story.
We had our mom, knowing we watched the Yu-Gi-Oh anime when it first came out, when we were like 6. She brought home like a star deck for each of us, and we're like, these are real cards? They're real. We're playing this, and then we were just hooked from then.
I remember our friends on the bus had cards with, wow, these are the real cards.
In elementary school when we were growing up.
Actually, I'll scrub out right here. She came home with the start at Kaiba for each of us, and I didn't have mine yet. He got his first, so I didn't see the deck. I saw the box that they came in. I was like, oh my god, she got us card holders to start buying cards and putting the black. So it's like no, there's actually a whole deck.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wow, and then it just went all downhill from there. $1,000 later, a YouTube channel.
What's your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh series?
The original.
Easy questions, easy answers. Which of the original anime season arcs was your favorite to create and why?
Battle City.
Yeah, I mean, Battle City has just so many decks. It was such a cool tournament. I really like the Waking Dragons decks, and I love those decks. But it's just so much fun to create like 20 different decks and create all the rare hunters and the Yugi deck that I love the most. So yeah.
I mean, Battle City was, like I said before, it spanned 2 seasons. It was only 1. Whereas actually, season 5 was the Grand Championship and the Duel and Duel and the Stolen Battle. So they had like 3 story arcs in 1 season. One story arc was 2 seasons with a breakup midway through. But I think it was very memorable. It was when the game modernized. Life points were 4,000, not 8,000, but they played a lot more
modernized life points.
They played faster. They played a lot more spells and traps than the beatdown of Ghost Kingdom. And I think a lot of the cards we started seeing in Battle City became more staples in characters' decks going forward. Aside from their main cards from the original Battle City, or the Ghost Kingdom, like Red Eyes and Blue Eyes, Dark Vision, It's like you saw the Bandit Warriors and the Knights, and those stuck around more.
Chains of like 5 traps back and forth were cool too. Who was your favorite voice actor from Yu-Gi-Oh? Whoever voiced this young Bakura! Which is not me, but it could have been. Think about that. Could have been.
I'm gonna go with Dan Green because he's done a little bit of other work.
Eric Stewart. You know the big tournaments I talk about sometimes, guys, they bring back the voice actors. So shout out to the Yu-Gi-Oh voice actors for like coming back and like doing duels that you guys can find on YouTube.
Yeah, look them up.
With like slightly modern decks based on the characters, or just the characters' cards,
Although
and doing their voices. It's really cool.
I'll say to let them know they're not actually playing. It's all basically you have two guys playing,
And they do the lines for the.
and they're just reading a script. So,
But shout out to Konami and shout out to the voice actors for staying close and doing those kinds of really cool ones.
it's
There's
so
like
cool.
there's like a famous player versus Pegasus. There's like Yugi versus like characters from 5Ds or whatever. There's like Kappa versus Pegasus. Cool stuff.
Like what we do, but with real voices.
Dark Magician, Red Eyes or Blue Eyes?
Dark Magician.
You're asking the hard. You're asking the easy questions. Blue Eyes or Dark Magician? I really love those two. Sorry, Red Eyes. Guess I had to pick the Blue Eyes. Do you guys watch Dragon Ball or have ever watched? Well,
Dragon Ball Z, a little bit of Dragon Ball Super now when it's on, but actually usually I'm busy on Saturday nights. It's Pokemon Go night with the guys. I'll also shout out and say some One Piece, some Naruto.
Yeah, I've been watching One Piece again right now.
So
love it. Shokugeki no Soma.
Once Upon a Time, or Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho was it. I would read and watch Inuyasha, Zatch Bell.
So we're not like
we're big anime fans. You guys can drop comments and talk to us about it if you want. Just start the conversations if you want. What were the first cards you had? The Kappa decks. And I remember we picked up like Magic Ruler packs after that too.
It starts with packs.
Whose deck would you like to make next if you're able to? Leon and Siegfried. But if we would get the cards, I mean, it'd be a range of characters we'd like to make. Like I said, Bakura cards, the Spirit Tablets would bring me back to make that deck and then show you guys.
I mean, since those cards are coming out, I'm gonna say Valen, because he was the Yu-Gi-Oh version of Iron Man. And I actually want to say I want the rest of Yugi's cards from Battle City. I really would like to have a Yugi Battle City that has all the cards. So we include Necromancy, Disgraceful Charity, the missing pieces. It's not really a full deck, but it's, really taking that and finishing it out.
What is your process in making a character deck?
We
make a list, we put down 40 cards into one deck, sleeve them up.
At some point, there's also moderate to severe banging head on keyboard.
Yeah. It's a lot of thinking it out, and we'll also sometimes test them to make sure that we build a good deck before we buy the cards.
Because we don't want to build decks that are just too strong for the anime meta. Because it always works in the anime because everything is scripted. In these decks, we have decks that are accurate, but they just really are garbage.
Right.
And then decks are accurate and they're phenomenal because the character happens to use real cards.
So if you want the full breakdown, one of the CEOs approves a deck to be designed when the design is submitted by somebody else. It moves to the creation department where they figure out what they want in it. Then it moves to the R&D department so it can be tested. It will be sent back to the creators to make changes. Goes back to R&D, and then finally gets put together when it's past R&D. Full process, just so you guys know.
Yeah, it's a lot of us sitting in front of a computer, banging our head on the desk and swearing a lot because
we're every department.
Again,
it's a big job.
The biggest thing is if we build a deck, we have to make it believable because you guys, you're like hawks, and that's great. Again, we love having a fan base who's like following what we're doing enough that we want to make sure we're selling stuff. It's like this works. We think it works. If you think it works, it's successful. If we say this card belongs here, and then we had a whole comment section that said no, it doesn't, obviously we screwed up.
Need to rethink our stuff. Which duel took the longest time from setup to finish?
Waking the Dragon Shoei versus Duelist Kingdom, I'm sorry, Battle City Joey.
That one was over an hour of raw footage, and we had to pause it and come back to finish filming it later. Like, we had to leave the house for some reason, leave all the cards in place, and come back to finish filming it.
On a rare occasion, we've actually been filming so late, we have to stop, maybe recharge our phone, because like it's, by the way, this has never been said on this channel. This entire channel has been filmed on phones, by the way. We've never used any of those nice, fancy, expensive cameras that the real channels like 414YG would have.
Shout out to 414YG.
iPhones, Android.
I'm sure there's no way anyone noticed. The quality was obviously on par with real cameras.
Maybe Potato once or twice.
They're like the Nestor versus Serenity and the other two was like an hour long too. There's a lot of duels that like in total are like over an hour of raw footage.
You know what the problem is a lot of the time? Pretty quickly. Okay, so sometimes we legit get interrupted by other things.
Dad, leave the room.
I mean, I have a wife and a kid, and we're all right now together, so there's always interruptions. As a matter of fact, there was a cut in the video just a moment ago that you may not have noticed because the phone that we're filming on ran out of space. So
we've interrupted, transfer videos off, start filming again.
Welcome to our process.
Last question, which decks are you most proud of? Please. All of them equally proud? They're all our special babies?
I mean, most of the Battle City decks are still on the tables around us out of view of the camera, so we don't want to say anything in front of them, but...
Yeah, we never tell them they suck. No, there are a lot that we're proud of. Some of the harder ones, for sure. We're really proud of the ones that we really need to sit down, bang out, the ones where we pick cards to fill out the character's deck, and then you guys say this is awesome. You guys did great.
If we had to really be creative to finish out the deck, because the character played like all of 4 cards, and like
you, Anubis,
and everybody asked for the deck, and then we're working somehow to come up with something, and then when you guys come and you say, "Wow, this is great! It looks really cool. You know, yeah, I like it." That's what we're most proud of. Is, like I've said it before, I'm just going to keep saying it. When we take our hard work and our opinions to build a deck that you guys all seem to kind of just agree with and say, you know, yeah, it's believable.
Yeah.
That's what, you know, we really we live for.
Well, that was your guys' Q&A. So like we mentioned before, this video is going to include a duel between Blue and myself with the character decks that we built for ourselves. This is something a lot of you guys have asked for. This is an idea that the channel has had for a while, and we just never executed till now. But you know, a lot of people and a lot of people have the same idea. You know, there's an understanding like, see our character type decks as if we were in the anime. You know, cards like not like what the best decks we could build right now, but using cards we like and things like that.
So with that in mind, we're going to show you each of us the deck that we built. And they basically follow this pattern that we mirrored after more of the original anime, and the main characters. So these decks are not archetype based. We want to make sure they were an assortment of random monsters and spells and traps. And while there may be cards that work together and have some nice synergy, there definitely won't be any archetypes, so it won't be like, you know, the Crystal Beast that I love. This is really an original anime style, complete mush-headed kind of deck. The cards do span quite a range though. We didn't limit ourselves to just cards from the first several booster packs of the card game or from the first series only. I mean, they do span to, you know, newer cards. But we definitely try to keep the overall themes and the styles a little bit more simplistic. So they're new and old. There's definitely the decks are very bold. You know, we both pick stylings that, you know, we really like with a lot of monsters and cards that we just really love. And our deck profiles, we're going to talk about that because a lot of the monsters we have are monsters that, you know, we've always really liked. So we've each put these together. They're 40 cards. There are no erratas whatsoever. We want to play these in actual cards. And I will tell you now, for deck profile's role is that these decks are the only decks you'll ever see on this channel that will not be in the character deck list, because despite being our anime style decks, I mean, they're not really anime characters, and we'd rather leave the list just more overall.
The actual anime deck.
Yeah, but yeah, like we said, it's been years of you guys watching us duel each other with anime decks. You guys, a lot of you have gotten to know us a bit. You guys know our building style. You guys know our channel style. We want to go head to head with anime decks. I mean, we built these over the years. We had these kind of decks a long time ago. These were built more recently, though, to reflect some more modern cards and current interest. I don't have any deck lists from years and years ago. Off the top of my head, I can name Perfect Machine King. It's not in this build, but it was in the build. That's about all I can do.
Yeah.
So we'll roll through one at a time. I hope you guys like these. So Blue here, and I'm gonna go through how I built, my anime style deck. Primarily, there's a light and dark theme to it. There's a bit of a dragon feel. As you can tell by the first card in the deck, yes, there's definitely cards pulled from my favorite character from the anime, Merrick. But definitely a bunch of other cards just that were from the anime that, I thought were cool for one reason. And then, again, a bunch of cards that, were never in the original anime, cards coming from later, but kind of came into, again, like this kind of light and dark mix that I ended up pulling out. So, Gilgarth, Megasonic Eye, Mechanical Chaser, Shining Abyss. So you can tell I clearly had an interest in a lot of the cards that Red Hunters played. I thought they played some really cool monsters, some very interesting monsters, effect or no effect. I mean, some of these things, for character decks, the stats are okay, but they look really badass. Then went into some newer stuff is Assault Wyvern. So again, I touched on, there's a small hint of, a bit of a dragon theme. The deck is primarily, it's more humanoid monsters, but definitely the dragons, and of course, actual dragons, and then wyverns. Crusader of Endymion. I'm just gonna go for that ball and blue armor he's got on, Cyber Raider. Dark Horus. I loved playing the level Horuses, a long time ago. The Dark Horus, I definitely love the dark feel, plus Dark Horus is just easier to summon than going through the whole level up process. But the level monsters were still really cool in themselves. There was so much to work with. There's a lot of cards I love, a lot of themes and styles I love. The level monsters are definitely really cool in their mechanic, but ultimately I wanted stuff in this set didn't have that, level progression. Dark Magician of Chaos, definitely one of the most badass cards, I think. To really take that Magician of Black Chaos, who also I considered, but the Demok is just that awesome monster, but with, really, really good potential effect. Dark Fair Dragon. Death Ball Scout. So yeah, a little bit of that Yu-Gi representation. It's just a really cool dragon card, I thought. Divine Dragon, Lord Felgrand. I really loved when that, a few years ago, that Dragon Structure deck came out that had the first Felgrand. It was a really cool dragon. I loved it so much, but it was very difficult to work with. This one has a bit more flexibility to it, so it's still kind of that awesome Felgrand, but with more versatility to it. Double cost, and really more is just tech for the Dark Horus, because Kaido Seahorse is also in here as well. So it's just, it's cool. It's definitely a cool card. Not a monster that I'm gonna go raving about, but the two little heads, kind of playful, has a fun feel to it. Dwarf Star Dragon Planter. So again, that light and dark theme that I really love to bridge. No, I don't have Light and Darkness Dragon in this deck. I would have, we felt it may have been a tad not what we were going for so much though with the style of deck building, but it was right on the edge of, kind of sitting in, sitting out. The Light and Darkness Dragon is also an amazing, amazing card, and it ruled the format so many years ago until everything else just kind of evolved around it. So Eclipse Wyvern. So, like I said, there's a bit of a dragon thing. There's also the whole remove from play, banish thing. Nothing too heavy. Again, I didn't want to build a full dragon deck. I didn't want to build a fully, kind of work from the banish deck. Oh, that's a lot of a lot of decks. Gear Golem. Yeah, I don't know. The rare hunters I thought played a lot of cooler cards than a lot of the main characters. Now that's not to say I didn't like Algier Sword, but just didn't feel to put it in this deck. And if you haven't seen our secret deck profile, I touch on this as definitely one of my all-time favorite monsters. I was so happy years after I had kind of got down the card game that this card was actually printed, and I started working back into the card game because a lot of the cards I loved so much, like this, like Gazelle, like Baphomet, who worked in this deck, but started to get printed. Well, I'm sorry, Gazelle had been printed, but Baphomet came out, Chimera came out, and a lot more Battle cards have been coming out, since I kind of had walked away from the game years and years ago. So this card being out, unfortunately, it never really saw much play. It was used by Seeker, but it was kind of just hit and smash by Joey. It makes a prominent appearance in the intro animation for Battle City, which is where I think I saw it the most, fell in love with it, this big blue. And again, a lot of the monsters I have are more humanoid, or dragon. This is definitely of the neither category, and despite it being very fiend looking, I would argue it's actually a spellcaster. And in the anime, it really had no effect, or that we knew it was blown away instantly by Joey. But hey, it does have an effect, and not the most useful one, but Hannibal Necromancer is just, there it is. If I had to pick, top 5 favorite cards, top 3 favorite cards, this comes to mind every single time. It's just this blue little monster thing, and it's awesome. Jinzo! Yes. So, one of the better cards in the whole game, Jinzo, because it negates traps. But I also thought it was really cool. I love seeing Esperoba play it because the card art for Jinzo shows so little of it. Seeing Esperoba summon it and then seeing Lecter play as Jinzo, we get to see what the full Jinzo looks like. That he's wearing this long, kind of cloak gown thing. It's not like he's wearing just tight pants. He has a bit more to his attire. He seems to have these long, lanky arms. So Jinzo is just kind of cool. It's a whole android thing, really, too. So it has that because androids, I think, universally have kind of appeal of themselves. Dragon Ball Z had androids. Marvel has Vision, who is a super awesome android, and Paul Bettany does an amazing job, I think, playing Vision. So yes, androids are awesome. And I mean, I like Jinzo so much that, like, years and years ago when I was in probably 6th grade, after we'd been watching the anime a lot, I just started drawing pictures of Jinzo again and again and again and again and again. And that's just kind of was a thing for a while, which is Jinzo was like one of my favorite cards ever. So Jurigato, another one of Merrick's, lovely still fiend monsters. I think I prefer the anime art Jurigato, although this is still cool. It was a normal monster in the anime. They gave it a hand trap effect, so it kind of makes it more playable. And again, while we have it errated for our anime duels, none of our decks are errated. We're actually playing with all printed, up-to-date TCG effects. Kaiser Seahorse. So figures, there's a monster for, like Kaiser Seahorse, the double tribute for all the attributes. But naturally, because Kaiba played this one for his blue eyes, it gets the most love, and that it got so many printings and ultra printings and, holofoil printings, and other ones like double costume, which are, really the equivalent of it, didn't. Because Kaiba played this one. But it's still a super, super, super cool card. Light Pulsar Dragon. So Dark Flare Dragon, Light Pulsar Dragon, that Chaos Dragon element that was also a popular theme years ago. So they're dragons that literally take from light and dark. So again, that's why it's tight as a lot of the core of my theme. Although, as you can see, the monsters themselves vary in whether they were from the anime, if they were played by anime hero, anime villain. Definitely a couple of cards. Actually, Esperoba. Reflect Boundary, another one of my all-time favorite cards. It's really cool looking. The effect is awesome, but just aside from that, it's this really interesting machine thing. It's covered in mirrors. I remember so many years ago finally getting one when Dark Crisis came out. It was just, such a happy moment because it was just such, to me was, and still is, just a really cool looking monster. And then last is the Fiend Mega Cyber. So the OG Cyber Dragon, of course, the new Cyber Dragon, the actual Cyber Dragon, much more applicable effect, but the whole same concept there. And again, Esperoba's deck really got to see him show off in his full, this humongous, big, yellow armored monster. So the Spell and Trap lineup is a more generic support. There's a couple cards that support a little bit of the elements, but overall, it's a lot more generic and versatile spells and traps. I don't have a lot of, really strong dragon support or light and dark support or something support. So it's double spell. It's double summon. Dragonic Tactics. Originally I had some ideas for a deck like this that was a bit more dragon focused. I still kept this in here for the dragons, even though they have dwindled down a bit in number. I think it's just, I want to play it anyway because it's a cool card. It's dragon chess pieces. I've always loved the potential of the dragons. I played dragons. Again, years ago at a tournament, I ran 5-headed dragon. It was not a very good dragon deck, but it got me some wins and it was cool. It was fun. I was happy I wasn't playing just, a cookie cutter top meta deck. Graceful Charity. So yeah, all the basic anime draw elements are going to be in here. Magical Excavation, Monster Reborn, Shocker, Monster Reincarnation, Pot of Greed that everyone ever in the anime has to explain, as if no one has ever seen Pot of Greed, despite almost everybody having a Pot of Greed. Roulette Spider. So it's ironic that despite how many of Esperoba's monsters I have in this deck, I also have Joey's spell card, which undid him. Why? I don't know. Roulette Spider, which is a really cool card. I love seeing the way it implemented in the anime. Literally affixing itself to Jinzo, splitting itself on the roulette web that it created. And it was one of the cards that was just so cool that when they finally printed it, because I think it had stood to be such an iconic card, being that it was a very, very unique card in the way that it worked, and was, again, Esperoba's undoing. So it's just really cool to have, that card finally be printed, and then, hey, it's a die roll effect. Maybe you win, maybe you lose. Adds a little bit of, intrigue, I guess. And last spell is Trade-In. So, because there is enough revival in this deck, a trade never hurts in any deck that's like this, because you can always toss monsters and then resurrect them. It's usually more feasible than actually summoning them sometimes. It depends. This deck is definitely packed with a lot of monsters. At the same time, it has ways to shift around monsters into the remove from play, out from the remove from play, and then the Monster Reborn, also Monster Reincarnation. So as far as what traps go, they're kind of all the same thing. They're very utility. So Embodiment of Apophis starts off my trap cards. I thought it was really cool. It was definitely one of the more prominent, trap / monster cards. Plus it has fairly, decent attack stats for a card like that, and the whole monster, snake thing I thought was kind of cool. So it's definitely on the darker theme of the deck for sure. Not just its attribute, but I think also its art and styling. Interdimensional Matter Transporter is just such a cool card, I think. Its effect is, of course, incredibly useful. But aside from that, the whole just idea of those little device teleports the monster out of play. That was just really cool to me. Mirror Force, the ever awesome and always ever in a deck Mirror Force. Now, there is one thing I want to quickly go into this. So this is not my original Mirror Force, but a long time ago when we were all much younger, I had a Mirror Force. I don't remember where it came from, but this was back when, like, you know, no one else had Mirror Force. We were all, you know, young. Yu-Gi-Oh was only a few years old, if even. I was lucky enough to have Mirror Force. I made my deck really good. And one day I traded it away for Ring of Destruction when that had come out. It was a new card. It was really cool. I lived to regret it. So it was kind of a disappointment to me afterwards when I had, you know, traded away a card that I really loved for Ring of Destruction, which later kind of just became a little lame. And so many years later, sometime later, you know, Delta worked to get me another Mirror Force. He traded it for it somehow. And it was just, you know, it was an awesome act of brotherly love where you know, he really went out of his way to make sure I got back a Mirror Force because of how much I loved the card, how much, you know, how well known for it I was of having a Mirror Force. Again, we were all so young. None of us were like just buying endless supplies of cards off of TCG Player or, you know, eBay. Also, the cards were really more expensive anyway because there were so few printings of it. Whereas now, there's been so many printings of Mirror Force. It's on special. So, but there's your random, maybe heartwarming, maybe boring story of, you know, the adventures of Blue and Delta years and years and years ago when Yu-Gi-Oh was still young and exciting. So moving on, Return from a Different Dimension. It was a super cool card, I thought, when Yugi busted it out from Kaiba to win in the Pyramid of Light movie. It also works straight into the theme I have, where I'm totally cool with banishing monsters because I have every intention to bring them back. Spellbinding Circle. Aside from being a very useful trap card and one of Yugi's oldest and longest running trap cards, I just think the art's really cool. I mean, I thought they did a great job. You know, the picture's very symmetrical, and you have the circles within the circle. So I think it's aesthetically really cool. Escape from Dark Dimension. So this kind of also works into my theme a little bit with the whole remove from play. This is for dark monsters, which I definitely have and definitely love to use. And the last card is Time Machine. So hey, a Dual Skin throwback and a Bandit Keith card at that. Why? Well, I just think it's a really cool card. It's, I mean, again, aside from being a useful card, a lot of these cards are just chosen because, you know, they have a useful effect. I'm not going to pick anything that's absolutely detrimental. But I thought it was a cool card. Its application is cool as well. Especially that it ended up working for both sides because of Joey's Grave Robber. But Time Machine is the last card. And again, we have no fusions. We just ended up building our decks without fusions. They are cool, but they can also be very cumbersome. If the pieces are less helpful than the actual fusion is. But so this is arguably just one of my many iterations of decks. Over the years, I've had so many decks. Sometimes they've been more machine heavy, although this one definitely had a couple machines at the beginning. You know, Perfect Machine King is also another one of my most favorite monsters, but I just didn't feel this time the way I wanted to build a deck for myself that he had as much place. But that being said, there's still so many cards in the game that I love. Monsters, spells, traps, you know, some archetypes. Because if you want to talk about my actual archetype decks that I've loved, you know, I built the Crystal Beast deck that's like Jesse's, but I cut out a lot of the other crappy plays, and it's just all Crystal Beasts. I have a, you know, a Galaxy deck because the Galaxy and the Photon monster I thought were really cool when those came out. And both those archetypes, unfortunately, I think, you know, especially some of you who play them, might agree that they're both a little bit underwhelming and that there could be so much more, especially because there's a lot of Jesse cards that haven't been printed. But nonetheless, I love Crystal Beast archetype. I love the Galaxy Eyes Dragon and the Galaxy Photon monster archetype. And they're both really cool decks. But if you asked me if I were to build, an original anime style deck where it's just really a jumble of monsters that can work together, but for the most part don't not work together, this is what I've come up with. Um, a lot of new favorite cards I have, a lot of old favorite cards I have, and overall it's a deck that, whether it wins or loses, it's made of cards that I love, and I think you can't go wrong with that.
It's my turn. So my deck, has kind of loosely a spellcaster theme, also a little bit loose fire and water theme there. There's a lot of different things I could pick from, and you'll see there's a lot of random stuff thrown in there. Like Griff4, that doesn't match any of those themes. So like we did say, the decks are really a collection of our favorite cards. And then similar to, say, Yugi or Kaiba, they do develop to have light themes. So I have like 8 to 10 spellcaster type monsters and like 1 spellcaster type support card in my deck. And then a lot of random stuff that I just really like Griff4, like Xarian Universe. So yeah, it's meant to really be the cards that Blue and I like. So I'm going to go through and I'll touch on some of the ones that are really relevant. Maybe some of my favorite cards I'll definitely make sure to talk to you guys about a little bit. And then 40 cards, of course. So first up is YGOAnimeGames. So this is always one of my favorite normal monsters. I'm glad they gave it a secret rare printing because it looks beautiful. I don't know, it's just something about it having like good defense and then just being like this cool like aqua like spellcaster type monster. I like the color scheme. Like that's one of the things when it comes down to the cards we like is sometimes it's hard to describe. Sometimes it's like ineffable. Why we like the card is just like, hey, we thought that one was really cool. Everybody's got those cards that they think look really, really cool. And especially secret, this one looks awesome. So put 1 YGOAnimeGames in there. Then Griff4, like I was saying. So I don't know, I just really, really like this one when Yugi played in Duel's Kingdom, and I was like, we don't have it. Like, we didn't have it printed for the longest time. But yeah, just an example of a nice little cool monster. And it's got 1200 attack too, just like YGOAnimeGames. Those are my only 2 normal monsters. Then we move on to Command Knight. So this one came out in tins a long, long time ago, way back in like, I don't know, 2004, 2003, 2005, something like that. And that's kind of always one of my favorite ones since. Again, asking me to describe what it is about it I love, I don't know what to tell you. It just looks cool. It's got a cool effect. Like, I like this Command Knight. It's like, it sounds very good, very like authoritative. And then you'll see that's a fire monster. So talking a little bit of a fire water theme. Then we have Blizzard Dragon. Just an example of one of the dragon cards that I like. It has that water attribute too. Obviously a lot of like say I really like Bakura's cards. So I don't really have a Dark Sanctuary or a Gross Ghostlified Dreams or Dark Necrofear thrown in here. Because I kind of like Bakura's cards like as their own deck, like in an Occult Fiend Dark type deck. So as I was just building this deck full of a bunch of my favorite cards, there was a decent out there Fire and Water, and I wanted to include some Fire and Water cards that needed other cards in the deck. So I was like, I guess it's kind of the direction I'm going to go in, but also featuring a lot of spellcasters, of which you've only seen 1 spellcaster so far. But you'll definitely see a couple more. Here are 2 Crystal Seer. When this card came out, it was instantly one of my favorites. I just think it's such a cool picture. This like red and blue robed like seer spellcaster. Like you look at the top cards of your deck. Like I loved it, and it was like really expensive when it first came out in Tactical Evolution. So I remember having a hard time getting my hands on it originally when it came out. But this is the only card in my deck that I have 2 of. Just because it's such a good effect coupled with such a cool card. And sometimes I really like those weak cards that give you something powerful without being super powerful themselves. So yeah, it was always one of my favorite cards, and I think Blue really liked it too. But I don't think it shows up in his deck. Anyway, that fits both the water and the light spellcaster theme going on. But again, that just always happened to be one of my favorite cards. Dark Magician of Chaos. Come on, this card is just so friggin' cool. I know so many people like this card. It's such a cool boss monster. Like, the pose is just, it was way cooler than Magician Black Chaos for me, way cooler than Black Master Soldier, way cooler than Dark Sage. It's got a really good effect to boot. So this definitely goes down as one of my, like, boss-type monsters. Moving on from that, you can start to see the spellcaster theme is pretty apparent. Dark Red Enchanter. This is a card that I remember coming out a little bit later, and I always thought it was really cool too. It's not a super powerful spellcaster. It gets attack from its spell counters, and then you can also remove counters to this card from your opponent's hand. So I really like that. It was like a pretty good like one tribute. I like the red color theme. I mean, red's also one of my favorite, if not my favorite colors. So you can see I've got red sleeves here, dark red enchanter. It just, I don't know, it was always such a cool spellcaster. Way cooler than stuff like Magical Marionetter, which was like a one tribute spellcaster. Way cooler than like Blast Magician, which is also a red colored spellcaster. So yeah, I always loved dark red enchanter and got that nice original secret rare. DD Assailant. I got this card as a video game promo way back when, and I thought it was the coolest thing. It also serves as really good removal for a monster if it's destroyed by battle. I also really like DD Warrior, and almost included in here. I know DD Warrior can be used as well, but only DD Assailant made the cut. Then we have Des Volskalf. I do like dragons too. I mean, I like a wide range of stuff, and I always thought this was a really cool dragon. Using the anime too, it was awesome as well. So, this and DD Assailant are two great examples of cards that don't fit. They're not water, they're not spellcaster, they're not fire. Just because, I was including a bunch of cards that I like, whether they work like super well together, every single card or not. Electromagnetic Turtle. Again, a really cool combination of a good effect, and then also, I don't know, I like the north-south, I like the magnetic thing. I really like Bastion's Magnet Warriors in the anime, and even Yugi's Magnet Warriors I like too. So this is kind of up that theme of like or in the alley of the magnet theme that I like, without me having to put like 3 or like 5 or 6 like cards in or something like that. Exarian Universe, which I already gave a mention before. Ironically, I don't like this card as much now. Like I don't really like its artwork that much. It doesn't like blow me away. It's still pretty cool, and I like it does look good. Does look good. Let me just say, I loved it when I was a kid. I remember when I found out all these tins were coming out that had like Exarian Universe is one of the only like non-anime featured cards that came in that round of tins. The other ones were like Panther Warrior, like Rocket Warrior, Guild Force, stuff like that. I remember I had a dream that I got the Exarian Universe tin, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. And I don't know, the dream felt really real to me as a kid. So I was just like, I've got to get it because like I wanted to. And it's a really cool card. I do like it, and I think I've had that copy for a while now. Fog King. So before I even remembered or realized that this was a card Adrian played, I saw this coming. Oh, it's such a cool card. Like I don't know, I like the concept of being able to attribute different amounts of monsters for it. Thought it looked really cool with like the sword and everything. And it happens to fit the spellcaster water theme. So yeah. Frost and Flame Dragon. Boy, when this came out as a secret rare, it was so cool. I remember Blue and I both wanted to pull it out of Tactical Evolution, I think. This is obviously a reprint version. But yeah, to be able to run this card, I definitely need fire and water stuff. So some of that stuff definitely for sure would show up anyway, like Crystal Seer, Aquamador. Fog King probably would show up anyway. But this also just gives me even more incentive to play some amount of fires and some amount of waters. Not super strong, but really cool. It's got a decent effect too, so that's pretty cool. And now time for one of my all-time favorite cards ever since it first showed up in the anime. I absolutely love this card to death. I got 9 copies of it, 3 secret rares, 3 ultra rares, 3 super rares for myself when it was finally printed. Guardian Iados. Now clearly this doesn't have a whole lot of synergy with the rest of the deck. I have a bunch of monsters, I don't have equipped spells, I don't have guardians, but by God, this is one of my favorite cards, and it is going to show up in a deck I make. Yeah, it had to have an inclusion in here. Even as a 2-2 2500 attack monster, it's not bad. It's like Yugi's Dark Magician, 2500 vanilla. Again, the point of this is not for us to always pick the best effects, but to pick cards we like. So this may not fit great in my deck in terms of effect, but I love it. It is one of my favorite cards. I think the artwork they chose for it is great, even though it's different than the anime artwork. I probably actually may like this one better. As a secret, this card just looks beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Had to get inclusion from me. Cannot stress that enough. So yeah, that's an awesome card, and I think a lot of people really liked it when Raphael played that. Ice Queen. So this is one of my all-time favorites, but a very cool card that also happens to fit the theme I was kind of going for, the light theme again I was going for this deck. I was also thinking about Ice Master and White Knight Dragon, but I ultimately settled on Ice Queen, partly because I like his picture a lot, I like its effect. It kind of comes together as a very cool card for me. So yeah, it's also kind of like a boss monster. Kind of like Dark Magician of Chaos or Guardian Yados too. It's a 2 tribute, really strong monster. Inari Fire. So this is a really cool fire monster that also happens to work with spellcasters. So this is kind of like a perfect blend. And it's basically like a fire, like a fox type thing that's on fire. So there's a lot to love there. It kind of reminds me of Foxfire a little bit, that really old card. And we have Magician of Faith. Always a really cool spellcaster. This is like Taya's favorite card, Duel's King, that she became in that duel against Bakura. So, yeah, it gets an inclusion too. Maiden of the Aqua. Another card I really liked. There's something like about this like water maiden type thing. That's like Poseidon staff. It was a really cool card. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I don't have that synergy with Umi in this deck. Again, I don't really gain a lot from the effect, but I just thought it was really cool. It was always one of those random cards that I saw as a kid that was like, okay, I like this. Then we have Masked Dragon, which is again, not one of my like all-time favorite cards, but it's a pretty cool dragon. I like what it does, and it's another cool fire monster because I also have a dedicated fire deck packing like Foxfire and Infernal Flame Emperor and Gaia Combustible Soul. Like I also have a dedicated fire deck like that. There's not a whole lot of fire monsters I really want to include, so Masked Dragon was a cool dragon and a fire monster. It's kind of a cool mix between. So I definitely wanted to put the one in there. Silent Magician level 4, another video game promo. I think I really like those video game promos. I always thought this was so cool. I don't love late in here because level 4 is always my favorite, and it could boost up itself with its own effect. So I was always a lot cooler than level 8, and I figured it was only necessary to include one of them in here. But yeah, this is always one of my favorite cards when it came out, and I remember playing Silent Magician in the Dungeon Dice Monsters game too. And it was really cool there. So a couple reasons why I love Silent Magician level 4. Again, it's a spellcaster. Then we have Twin-Headed Behemoth. So a dragon that brings itself back as a tribute. I was always cool when Kabi used this in Virtual World. So yeah, and you will see in some of our decks a lot of cards that show up in the anime just because there were a lot of cool cards that are played by the main characters and stuff that we like too and that we want to include. And then the last monster is UFO Turtle. I don't know, it's just like it's kind of cool. Like as a secret, it looks really awesome with the artwork with a silver like UFO shell on top of the turtle. I thought it was pretty cool. And it definitely works to let me see more in my deck. Which I guess is kind of something I like too, like Crystal Seer, Masked Dragon, UFO Turtle. I like being able to see cards from my deck. Moving on to the spells, we have Anti-Magic Arrows. Again, another card from the anime. This is just, it's so cool. Like everyone, it's one of the cards that came and played, and a lot of us really like a ton of his cards. This one's just got like an awesome artwork, awesome effect. Creature Swap, I loved using this in decks when I was a kid. I had the original Ultra quite a few times. I don't know, just like it had such a cool effect, and I like the like tricolor thing going on with like the swapping and the picture. Just like again, it's really cool. And I always think of monsters as more of the kind of cards that I really like. When you ask me what my favorite cards are, I'm gonna think like Yados. I'm gonna think like Griffor. I'm gonna probably mention like Bakura's monsters. I'm gonna mention like Dark Red Enchanter or Silent Magician level 4. But I'm growing up as a kid, there's a lot of spells that I really like too. Like I really liked Enemy Controller or Creature Swap. Put those in a ton of my decks. So speaking of Enemy Controller. So yeah, I mean I love the like quick spell video game controller. Like I don't know, I think a lot of these cards were a combination of liking their effects and liking their picture. But when Kabi used this, it was so cool. It was so cool when Kabi used this. I was like, I want that card too. Foolish Burial. I don't like it, as much as some of my favorite spells like Creature Swap and Enemy Controller. But it's really cool, and it's always been pretty useful. I like the idea of getting getting some benefit by putting a card of your own in the graveyard. So either you Monster Reborn or question it back, or I can use it for Frost and Flame Dragon to banish. So yeah. Graceful Charity. A lot of the staple cards like Pop Green Graceful Charity are really cool. I always love the artwork on this one, and Blue and I wanted to include a lot of those kind of like generically good cards. Also, because like drawing in games is fun, it's exciting, it lets you like see more cards. And with Graceful Charity, you can pick the best of the cards that you've drawn to improve your position. Monster Born, same thing. Like it's a classic, it's a staple. And then there's Pot of Greed, just all three of those in a row. So yeah, Blue and I each have all three of those three in our decks. Scapegoat. Again, when Joey played this, I loved it. Like Scapegoat Enemy Controller. When I saw him come in the MA, like I just loved it. And I love the Scapegoat tokens. It's such a cool card. I mean, a lot of these don't really need explanation, I guess. Like Blue and I have said, these are just our favorite, like a lot of our favorite cards put together in cool decks that we would build that use them. Magical Dimension, great for spellcasters. I always thought was like a really nifty, like I like the pictures, like trippy with the red and blue in the background behind this like sealed off. I don't know what to call it, but yeah. Then moving on to the traps, we have Mirror Force. I mean, if you watched the anime and didn't love this card, then I don't know what to say. It's just a really, really cool one. Really awesome when Yugi first used it, and then other characters like the Rare Hunters and Merrick used it too. I don't think much more needs to really be said there. Security Orb. I love this when it came out in Gladiator's Assault. It was such a cool ultra. I think Blue pulled it, and I was like, that's so cool. Red and kind of a bluish purple again. I don't know. Maybe I just like red and blue like as a color combination together. But I thought this card was really, really cool. I like that it had an effect when it was like destroyed. So yeah, Shadow Spell. Kabi used it. Just I like this in Spellbinding Circle, but I guess I like this a little more. Ever since like Duel's Kingdom, like I don't know. I just liked it. Torrential Tribute, a really cool card that also kind of fits that whole like water theme. Was like used by like Mako and stuff. Another cool card. Widespread Ruin. I would remember seeing this come up in video games, and then I think it was originally a video game promo as well. So I remember I would play Sakuretsu armor in decks, but this was always like a way cooler Sakuretsu armor. So definitely chose this. Acid Trap Hole. On the list of cards that like I don't know why I like them. I thought this was so cool. Like the acid pit, the artwork, like I don't know. It was such an awesome trap. Probably one of the only traps I love. Like I love. I don't think I love any of the other traps I have had so far, except maybe Security Orb. As much as this, as much as like Enemy Controller, as much as like Dark Grand Chanter and Silent Magician level 4. But yeah, this is really up there in terms of just such a cool card. And there's like an alternate art in the Japanese that's really cool as well. Call the Haunted. I don't know. It's kind of a cool. So this one was only like darker, like fiend, like zombie type cards I did include just because I always thought it was really cool. I always loved it, and it's a little more like I don't know, like generic in a deck than something like Dark Necrofear. And then the last card is Horn of Heaven, another trap card that just back from the early days I really loved, and a lot of these cards look beautiful with their hollow foil artwork. There's really a lot of cards I love in the game, and I could have gone a different route with a lot of these. I loved Gravekeepers, and I would always play Gravekeepers a lot when I was growing up. So if I wanted to build like a themed or an archetype deck, like I could have done Gravekeepers. But with these decks, we really want to take like a spattering of a bunch of our favorite cards from like all over the game and just like mix them all together into like one big mess of like our favorites. So that's my 40 card deck. I both wanted you to get a good look at the reasons why we love the cards that we chose and why we chose them. So anyway, thank you guys. Alright guys, so you got to see the decks. Now, before you get to see them face off, before you guys get to see the duel that a lot of you wanted, Blue versus myself, with our decks, we're going to hit you guys with some closing thoughts. We're going to say, goodbye and thank you guys one more time.
I mean, we've been sitting here filming for over an hour. I'm not sure where this is in the video in post-production between the
It's going to be over an hour and a half in. Mark my words, I'm right.
clips being cut in, stuff being cut out. But we're fine. We knew this was going to take a long time. I think a lot of you guys wouldn't appreciate a quick, wrap up and goodbye. Some of you guys, he may have taken this video in parts.
Right, it's like a movie. It's like watching a movie. It's a commitment.
One of you
Props those who stood through it.
One of you may have seen the video go up and then grab your phone, run to the bathroom, and you're still sitting there. You should probably get up.
How those legs feeling? You must not be able to move them.
I hide in the bathroom so often.
Guys, really, from the bottom of our hearts, and we've said this in other videos before, and we've said it before in the meeting, but thank you guys so much. You guys might see comments here and there from us. It's not we're not going to exist anymore. Like we said, you might see a couple decks in the future, but for all intents and purposes, this is basically it.
I mean, one of the biggest things is, like, again, we're physically splitting up. That's one of the biggest, or the biggest thing. At the same time, though, we both become much busier in our own lives, and that's why it took us 6 months to put out Battle City versus the original 2 or 3 we were supposed to. I mean, I'm an engineering student in school, plus I'm working, plus the wife and kid.
Yeah, I'm working full time. I'm moving. So my life is pretty busy as is. And
so as much as we loved for the most part, as much as we loved working with, the channel, you guys, it's just at the point where we're having trouble finding the time to, pull off what we wanted to do.
yeah,
We've had an amazing run and we got so much farther than we ever expected to.
that I invest ever.
I mean, there are channels out there with a lot more subscribers than we have, but we're okay with that because for our own experience, where we ended up at almost 5,000 subscribers at this point is way higher than we thought. There's a lot more channels.
Who knows?
They're
Maybe
doing
5,000 posthumously, how we say the word, after death.
So again, it's just, we've really enjoyed it over the years. The number of people who, people have come to us for, deck lists, character decks when we were selling decks.
Input.
We've been an inspiration for other channels. Someone who cited us as inspiration was Forward for YGO.
Yeah.
He is an awesome guy. His content is really cool,
Right.
and he
Good
is
call.
doing amazingly with his, his content, his subscribers.
Yeah, check him out.
He has things that we never had, like, nice thumbnails. I think that really matters in YouTubing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so go check, if you haven't already, go check him out. So we're stepping out of the game, we're clocking out, we're retiring. Go to Forward for YGO. He's got some really cool stuff. I mean, there's a lot of channels out there.
Yeah.
But
we know 4 is good, so some of the character deck stuff is still alive for you guys. And there's a lot of channels that started, some more successful than others because of us. And that's really cool too, to know the impact that we not only had on our fans in terms of watching our content, but on our fans and creating our own content.
that was one of our biggest things. We just start with the idea that if we build these really
Detailed, awesome,
critically little nitpicky decks, to set a really high standard, hopefully we'll attract fans like us. And, again, it was about reproduction. That's why we made our deck profiles. That's why we made just typed up lists that are
Right.
openly accessible. It was also that, and that's why we use only real Konami cards and not, going printing out a whole darts deck, as cool as that would be, and maybe could have been just for show. We wanted to be an inspiration to other people, hopefully, and we definitely got that. We had, like I said, people buying our decks, building our decks, trying to start their own channels. So we came to YouTube with really a dream, but knowing that it was not going to probably work out because it doesn't work like that. And we're walking away with more than we ever expected. I mean, there are people, who are supporting us, who are working behind the scenes, not in the channel crew though, who are kind of sad to see you go too. So, but again, we're leaving happy and proud because we set out with, so little in mind, and we're leaving with such an amazing experience and time here. And again, okay, first off, it still needs to be clarified, we're not deleting the channel. We have people
Last
ask,
video's still up. You
some
guys can
people-
see them all.
Some people ask if we're leaving this stuff up. It's all staying here. You guys can go rummage through, rewatch the videos, like your favorite movies, so you memorize the lines. I promise you there's not a lot of lines really worth memorizing, but
There's some pretty good singers.
it's the single most quoted line in this entire channel, because even like within this year, 2018, we had a random notification. Someone found the video. Was it a Jaden versus Yugi? It was. I don't even remember now. There was a video where I have light intervention in Battle City Yugi. Delta tries to set a monster.
Happens to all of us.
And I say, you can't set monsters, dipshit.
Very quotable.
Then just the number of times people have put that in quotes, and that's the whole comment in that video.
Yeah.
Alright, I guess that's my most successful moment on the channel, man, was that one-liner. But this is all staying up. Like I said earlier, the deathlist document is going to be updated. The errata document is going to, of course, stick around. So if you guys want to play with our style of errataing to try to get the anime effect in, that's, of course, going to stay up as well. I can't say for certain how much we're going to push erratas in new.
Stay tuned, guys. See what happens.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out as we go. And I mean, we want to give you guys as much content as possible. But there's one last thing, and that's a duel. So before we take a big step back and stop the channel, there's gonna be a duel through this. But just one last time, thank you guys for everything. This really is all about you guys. We may have said it before, but we haven't. This whole channel, everything we've done, all our success, because of you guys.
It's been one hell of a ride.
Yeah, guys. 6 years. Thank you for all of it. So we'll play the last duel now. So just watch the end of the video, because we'll roll the duel. We'll roll some credits.
We've seen the duel. It's a good duel.
It is good.
It's definitely
Make sure you watch it. And then we're gonna roll some credits. So just keep watching the video. But thank you guys, and we really love our fans. Enjoy this duel. All right, let's see who will start us off. Looks like it'll be me. You can tell Blue's deck is in the blue sleeves.
Best of luck.
Best of luck to you too. Draw for turn. Your turn.
I'll set one monster and end my turn.
Let's draw. Set, and end.
I'll end my turn.
I'll draw. You know what? I'll summon Silent Magician level 4. Every time one draws, put one spell counter on this card, max 5. If you attack this card by 500 points, you spell counter on it. Then I'll set one card. Alright. That's my little guy over here, goes up to 1500 attack.
Your penchant for summoning monsters will only put you in a worse position. I'll start with activating Graceful Charity.
Sure, there's no mystical ref panel here.
I'll discard Megasonic Eye and Divine Dragon North Felgrand.
Okay.
Next, like I said, you summoned quite a few monsters. The feed Mega Cyber to the field.
Okay. Right, so this guy also gets another counter because he drew cards with Graceful Charity, putting him at a whopping 2,000.
Feed Mega Cyber. Attack Silent Magician level 4.
It was kind of early for this, but I'm gonna Mirror Force you, buddy. I'm sorry.
Ooh. I'll end my turn.
I'll draw. Let's have Silent Magician level 4 attack your face down.
With 2,000 attack?
Yep, with 2,000 attack.
Your Golem beats
Ooh.
with 200. Until next turn.
That's pretty rough. Yeah. I will set one more card. Full of background, just end my turn. As this is going to go up to 3. Really like those 2200 numbers.
Yeah. Activate Magical Stone Excavation.
Wow.
I discard 2 cards. To be able to reactivate my Graceful Charity card.
Sure, give my magician more counters. I'm okay with that. Putting him up to a whopping 3,000 attack, guys.
I'll strengthen my defenses with Reflect Bounder.
Wow. Okay. I'll draw. So take damage equal to my monster's attack when I attack that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Card's good. Good card is good. I will have my Silent Magician level 4 attack over your Golem. I will set one more card, and then I will just end my turn. And this will go up to 5 counters, the most it can have. That Silent Magician level 4 is putting in quite a lot of work.
Activate Monster Reincarnation
Sure.
by discarding Jinzo. To add back Divine Dragon Felgrand. I'll use Trade-In to
Wow.
discard the Felgrand to draw 2 new cards.
If he could get more counters, he would be right now.
I'll summon Dark Flare Dragon. By banishing out 1 dark and 1 light monster.
Sure.
I'll set 2 cards and end my turn.
Alright, I'll draw. I'll have my Silent Magician level 4 attack your Dark Flare Dragon.
I will activate Return from the Different Dimension.
Wow, paying half your life
Cost of
points.
half my life points. I can summon back Jinzo and Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand. Now Jinzo's effect will negate all of your trap cards. And
We're all banished at the end of the turn, right? Banish all monsters that are special by this effect.
And Lord Felgrand, when he's special summoned, will banish your Silent Magician.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good play. My one consolation is that those 2 will be banished again at the end of the turn.
It's alright.
Well, I think I will just set 1 card and then end my turn. That was pretty good.
I will set 1 card. And summon Kaiser Seahorse now.
You know I don't Mirror Force. I'm going to activate Torrential Tribute.
Alright.
Destroy my electromagnetic field and Twin-Headed Behemoth.
In that case, I'll move to battle phase. And reveal
Sure.
Embodiment of Apophis.
It's pretty good.
Attack for 1600.
Yeah, I'll be getting 1600.
And I'll end my turn. With
My
nothing else to play.
Twin-Headed Behemoth will come back.
The measly 1000,
And
1000.
I'll draw. Yeah, with the measly 1000. I thought that Torrential Tribute would be a little more backbreaking than it was. I'll just end my turn.
One to back row.
Mm-hmm.
Apophis. Attack.
Sure. My turn. Let's draw. I'll just end my turn.
1600.
Yeah, and I'll drop by 1600.
So I say the life points have evened out enough.
Yeah. I'll draw. I'll set and end my turn.
I'll summon Crusader of Endymion.
Wow, with a whopping 1900 attack.
Crusader, attack the face down.
Good thing my command knight's got 1900 defense. I'll draw. I will just set a monster and end my turn.
I will play Pot of Greed, which lets me draw 2 cards from my deck, in case that was unclear to anyone in the audience or my opponent.
Do your worst, villain.
Crusader will attack your set monster.
You attacked Crystal Seer. Flip. Pick up 2 cards on the top of your deck. Select one of those cards and add it to your hand. And put the other card on the bottom of the deck. Ooh. This is very interesting. I think I will take this one. And then put this one on the bottom of my deck. Alright, anything else for your turn?
No, I'm content as is.
Alright, I'll draw. Alright, I'm going to tribute my command knight to summon Dark Red Enchanter. When this card is normal summon, put 2 spell counters on it. You can see that spellcaster theme starting to come out. Crystal Seer, the Dark Red Enchanter. Each time a spell card is activated, put 1 spell counter on this card. This card gains 300 attack for each spell counter on it, and then once per turn, I can move 2 spell counters on this card to make my opponent discard 1 random card. Alright, let's have that Dark Red Enchanter attack your Crusader of Endymion.
I will reveal Spellbinding Circle,
Oh.
trapping your monster.
I'll go to main phase 2 and I'll activate his effect. Removing 2 spell counters. Pick a random card, shuffle them up. I'm wondering if there's a card he really doesn't want me to hit. Or if these are both good or if they're both bad. There's a double cost on.
Acceptable loss. Mm-hmm.
I will set and end my turn.
Crusader, attack the Enchanter.
When you attack, I'm going to activate a Magical Dimension.
Alright then, but I have Interdimensional Matter Transporter. So at the very least, my Crusader is safe for a turn.
Alright, so this will be tributed. I will special summon Ice Queen, who cannot be special summoned from the graveyard, but fortunately can be special summoned from the hand. I then will destroy your environment with Apophis. Well, you can continue with your turn.
I will set 1 card and end my turn.
So your buddy comes back. I will draw. I'll activate my Pot of Greed. I'll activate my Graceful Charity. Draw 3. And then discard 2. Let's have Ice Queen attack. Probe the waters. See how deep it is?
Well, like you, my deck also contains one of the most powerful trap cards in the game, Mirror Force.
I will, when she's destroying 10 in the graveyard, if I have 3 or more spellcaster monsters in my graveyard, which I now do because the Flat King was this card with Graceful Charity, I can take 1 spell card from the graveyard and add it to my hand. I'm sorry, man.
It's always hand. It's never like top of the
I've
deck.
got to do it, yeah.
Or like 3 cards down in the deck. Or
Sorry, the card you were thinking of was Feather of the Phoenix. Well, then I'm going to go to my main phase to activate a second Pot of Greed. I'm going to set one, and call it a turn.
Heart of the Cards. I'll tribute my Crusader.
Sure.
For Death's False Gulf.
Sure.
And it will attack your face down monster.
Magician of Faith. I happen to draw both my guest stuff back.
Go ahead. Add the pot of greed back to your hand. So you
No,
can play
I'm
it for a third time.
I'm thinking about Grace of Charity this time. To see, he sees me a few cards more. Gets me a few cards deeper in my deck. Oh man.
If you think Delta's cheating, thumbs down the video.
I take 500.
Yep, so we're almost even life points
Yeah, life points
now.
are almost perfectly even.
And this was all self-inflicted. Actually, so all damage here was done by me.
It won't be that way for long. Well, I've done a magnificent job of clogging up my field. Don't know if you guys noticed. I don't. Actually, this is a little bit of a problem. Actually,
I'm sure I can do something that will prompt you to unclog your field.
so I'm gonna banish Command Knight along with my Crystal Seer and my Ice Queen to summon out another boss monster, Frost and Flame Dragon. Yeah, I actually can't activate the Grace of Charity that I got.
Beats me by 100.
Beat you by 100. I'll attack the Death Ball Scout. I told you it wouldn't be only self-inflicted damage for long. And I guess I'll just end my turn.
Alright. So, absolutely nothing to work off of. I'm gonna go find some stuff to work off of. Double spell.
That's
When it's
pretty good.
putting double summon, I'm gonna activate your pod read.
Wow.
That lets me draw double cards.
Actually, maybe I should have left the Pop Greed in there.
I'll start by special summoning Light Pulsar Dragon.
That's pretty good.
By banishing one dark and one light monster from my graveyard.
Okay.
Next, I'll summon Assault Wyvern and have Assault Wyvern attack your Frost and Flame Dragon.
Wow, this is hella sketchy. I like a security orb when Assault Wyvern attacks. Put your Assault Wyvern in defense mode, because something's just not wrong about that whole situation.
That's fine. Light Pulsar Dragon will attack Frost and Flame Dragon then?
And then you control her to also switch it to defense. Sorry, buddy, I'm just not letting go of this Frost and Flame Dragon.
Then I will end my turn.
I'll draw. Activate Graceful Charity. I would have never thought. Discard those two.
What I would get for Card of Sanctity right now.
And activate Call the Haunted. Let's just special summon back Magician of Faith. Because I control Magician of Faith, the spellcaster monster, I will special summon Inari Fire. And activate Monster Reborn. Bring back that Guardian Iados. I will activate Frost and Flame Dragon's effect, discarding me to destroy Light Pulsar Dragon.
Which will let me special summon a Dark Dragon from my graveyard. So come back. Dark Flare Dragon.
Alright, and then because I have a normal summon this turn, I'll tribute Magician of Faith and Inari Fire to summon my Dark Magician of Chaos.
Ooh.
Dark Magician of Chaos's effect will activate. Guess I'll grab back the Monster Reborn. Just because broken cards being used multiple times are good. In that case, I will have Iados attack Dark Flare Dragon.
I will special summon Jurgato.
Right.
You gain 1,000 life points.
I will.
And then I will offer Jurgato to boost Dark Flare by 1,000 points until the end of my next turn.
Well, in that case, I will only attack with Assault Wyvern then. Well, let's set card face down. By the way, you guys already saw me grab the Monster Reborn. Obviously, I didn't activate this turn because it's supposed to be out during the end phase, but you know.
Dark Flare Dragon will attack Dark Magician of Chaos.
Okay. I'll take 600. It's banished by its own effect.
Then I will set one card, and I will end my turn.
Alright, I'll draw. I'll activate Frost and Flame Dragon's effect. Just gonna have to target Dark Flare Dragon. You know what? I'll summon a Blizzard Dragon. The dragon will attack.
That's fine.
Frost and Flame Dragon.
Sure.
And one of my favorite monsters, Garniados.
And that's what I was waiting for. I activate Roulette Spider.
Wow.
Let's roll the die and see who takes the
Let's break down the results again.
1. Have my life points. Not much left. 2. Make it a direct attack. Yeah, no shit.
So both those you lose.
Choose a monster I control. Okay, we're going to stop reading that one. Choose one other monster my opponent controls. Change that to the attack target. Perform damage calculation. 5. Negate the attack. Inflict damage to my opponent equal to that monster's attack. 6. Destroy that opponent's monster.
So you want 4, 5, or 6. Let's see what it is.
Yo, listen up, here's the story about a little guy that lives in a blue world. And all day and all night and everything he sees is just blue. Like him, inside and outside. I'm blue, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die. I'm blue, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die. I'm blue, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die. I'm blue, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die. Inside and outside, I'm blue, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die, da-ba-dee, da-ba-die.
You guys are still here?
This isn't a Marvel movie. There's no post-credit scene.
Go on.
Go, get off the bathroom.
Stop.
Someone's waiting for you.
Press stop. Stop the video. I hope you guys cleaned up after yourselves. Popcorn or wherever you guys are sitting.
I'm Tom,
And I'm Mike.
and we'll always be YGOAnimeGames.
They left the lights on again?